makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies
Oh, you know we need them. We need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Well, I'm ready.
You don't know if the rest of us are ready today, huh?
You know
what's coming.
I do.
Hey, folks, welcome into another edition of Strategies for a Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, POPC Lauren McMillian. And look at here, you know, you never know what the cat's going to drag in. And much to Pocket's chagrin, the cat drug in Gary Tiemann.
It's good to be here. I'm always happy to be here with y'all.
Well, I'm glad you are.
And, you know, it's interesting. It's so wonderful to have colleagues and friends like you, Gary, that introduce us to other colleagues and friends. You recently introduced us to Henry Bieryla, and what an interesting fellow.
Favorite part of my career profession is that I have been blessed with meeting many very special, interesting people, and present company included.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, after we did the last program featuring Henry, we began to talk afterward about our mutual interest in Edgar Cayce.
Amen.
And you know, I think Edgar Cayce, and many people are saying, "Oh, I remember who that is." And then there's other people out there that are saying, "Who is this?" And so we'll start there today. But I think Edgar Cayce has some things to teach us today.
Amen.
In a very special way that 21st century life and culture needs to reacquaint itself with the great Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet.
Maybe it's time to wake him up.
Maybe it's definitely time to wake him up. So, folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for a Living. We appreciate you being here with us, and we appreciate our sponsors making it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX. We train your brain. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. Back in a moment. Henry Bieryla, Gary Tiemann, you know you're in trouble. We're going to talk about Edgar Cayce and more right here on Strategies. Stay with us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem trapped. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome in to Strategies for Living. Lauren McMillian, David McMillian, and our pleasure to welcome back psychotherapist Gary Tiemann. He holds a master's degree in social work. He is a licensed clinical social worker. the author of Miraculous Psychotherapy. And having been on his couch a time or two, I will attest to it's miraculous. Gary, welcome back to Strategies for Living.
You are so kind, and I'm always thrilled to be here.
And you have again brought along a very special guest. Introduce Henry Bieryla to us.
So, Mr. Bieryla, he and I are both board members of the advisory board on reincarnationresearch.com. That's how I met him. And he's become my go-to guy on everything Edgar Cayce. So, I'm so proud and appreciate that I get to spend time with Henry and y'all here this evening.
Welcome, Henry.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
So
Good to be here.
how did you? How long? You obviously we talked off air last time we had you on, and your breadth of knowledge about Edgar Cayce is phenomenal. How long have you been an Edgar Cayce devotee?
Well, it started when I was actually in college, some 50 years ago at Penn State, and I was reading a book by Linda Goodman, and the reference in the back of the book had anything by or about Edgar Cayce. And that pretty much started my journey as far as exploring what Mr. Cayce was all about.
Yeah. So some people will know who Edgar Cayce is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that may be listening to us right now that don't know who Edgar Cayce is. So introduce us, if you will, Henry, to he was known as the Sleeping Prophet. Introduce us to Edgar Cayce and why his work is so relevant in his lifetime as well as our lives today.
Well, the body of information that he brought forth, literally in trance, was absolutely remarkable. There was some 14,300 plus readings that Mr. Cayce did between 1901 and 1945, and they are archived and available for examination and study at the Edgar Cayce Foundation in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Also, too, they can be found on the web, if you will. What occurred was that early on, Mr. Cayce had an apparition, and he was given a gift that he would be able to lay down in trance. There would be a moderator there who would give him a suggestion, and he would be able to tap into what would be called the universal consciousness, the universal mind, the Akashic record, basically
Right.
the time stream.
Right.
And he would be able to go back and forth and bring down information from that source.
And in his body of work, and you mentioned you can access it online. You can, if you want to, I don't know, maybe a good intro book. There is a river. Might be a good intro to Edgar Cayce today if someone is brand new to Mr. Cayce and his work.
And
It's an excellent book. It was written by Thomas Segru, who spent a number of years with the Cayces in Virginia Beach. And another one of my favorites is called the Edgar Cayce Companion, which is almost like a physician's desk reference that speaks to the work that Edgar did and pretty much covers, it's a treatise that covers the overview of pretty much all of his work that he did.
You know, some people referred to him, as you've mentioned, he laid down and went into trance. They refer to him as the sleeping prophet. And what he brought forth in those trances is phenomenal. But could we also, in a sense, call him the reluctant prophet? I mean, he didn't exactly sign up for what he became, right?
Oh, absolutely. It just came upon him by chance when he gave a recommendation early on when he was living in Kentucky, because there was an illness and most of his readings were geared towards holistic healing. He's the father of holistic healing, mind, body, and spirit. That's where the title came from.
Right.
But he gradually accepted the gift that he had and was able to venture into various areas as his practice, if you will, went on, as he became more proficient at bringing this information through.
One of the things that is intriguing to me about Mr. Cayce and his work, and another part of that reluctancy, if you will, he was a devout Christian man. If I'm remembering correctly, he taught Sunday school, and so there was once he began to have the things, be able to transmit, if you will, the things that he got. He was a little bit could we say he was a little bit suspect of what was happening within him, right?
Well, it was very tumultuous for him at that time. He was a Sunday school teacher who read the Bible for every year of his life. In those early years, he went back and read it twice, if you will. And his conflict of what he had as a Christian minister versus what he was receiving was incredible. And actually, one of the most difficult things for him was when he was doing a reading for an individual, and the individual asked why the person had so many afflictions in this life. And Mr. Cayce said to him, well, you abused the body in a previous life. And at that point in time, that even opened the topics of reincarnation and the pre-existence of life.
Sure.
And he struggled with that greatly for quite a while.
As his work unfolded, and he ended up moving his family, because this wasn't his occupation. He still had to make a living as his work started. And so how did he end up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Henry?
Well, he basically was guided to go Virginia Beach as far as, let's say it's an energy or vortex in that area where he could receive information, being by the ocean, if you will.
Right.
He had the inclination to go there. He was guided, well, by spirit in that regard. So it came down to a situation where he really did not have a source of income. And in turn, he had to pretty much rely on anyone that there was donations, the kindness of other people. He did some photography work at one point, and the readings basically brought people to him that did donate for him even to build a hospital in Virginia Beach,
Right.
which he did.
As his work began to spread, when the talk of what he was doing and the miraculous recommendations that he would make began to spread, you mentioned he had a bit of a hard time continuing to make a living, whether it would be in photography or anything else, because he got very busy with people coming, wanting his assistance, wanting his recommendations.
Oh, absolutely. And once it became publicized, there was a magazine, I believe it was called Coronet, and then there was newspaper articles on him. It was amazing. He would literally receive bags of mail every week from people with all different types of afflictions. And that's what I wanted to touch on as far as the areas that he was working with that came through with the readings. 68% of the readings were based on holistic healing, for healing the body, diagnosis and treatment of ailments. And these people could be anywhere. As long as he had their name and their location, he was able to work with their higher consciousness, if you will, and be able to give those recommendations, what would heal the body. 14% roughly were life readings on past and present incarnations. roughly 5% involved business inquiries. As a matter of fact, the one large donor that helped with the hospital, he recommended to that donor to take his funds out of the stock market prior to the crash in 29, of which the individual did.
Wow.
And of course, all of his resources were saved. So there was quite an interest and a breakdown in multiple categories that he worked with, and ancient civilizations and the mind and the soul's journey through time and death and God's other door. It was really phenomenal information.
All right, so you just mentioned God's other door. We got to take a break here, but when we come back, let's have you take us, Henry, through that door, through the eyes of Edgar Cayce. Is that a plan?
It sounds wonderful. We'll talk about the mind a little bit.
All right.
Too.
Henry Bieryla, Gary Tiemann, with us today here on Strategies for Living. We're talking about Edgar Cayce. You're not able to get a word in edgewise. What's going on? I've never seen you this quiet.
There's times to talk and there's times to listen. And when Henry's talking about Edgar Cayce, I'm listening.
Okay, well, we're all listening.
Wise.
We've got more to learn, more to come here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back.
Facing the same old problems day to day, makes you want to hard get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there, looking for hope and peace to spare, looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab, strategies for living radio.
I tell you what, Edgar Cayce has strategies.
He has some strategies.
He does have some strategies for living. Welcome back into Strategies, folks. Lauren McMillian and David McMillian with you. Honored to have Gary Tiemann with us today. Honored to have Henry Bieryla with us today. Talking about the sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce. And if you are not familiar with him, as Henry said, you can go online and access it's a treasure trove.
It's wonderful. He was progressive before we even knew what that meant in our work.
Yeah. And so many of his, I'm going to put air quotes around this, prescriptions today.
Yes.
Are still very relevant, and there's no telling how many people. I don't even know whether the Edgar Cayce Foundation is able to keep up with how many people have been helped through the years just by accessing the files and looking up a particular ailment or problem and looking at what Cayce recommended and then getting results from it.
And I think it's so validating, too, that, here again, the stuff I know about Edgar Cayce is that he was doing this stuff, in the 30s, and all we're doing now is validating everything that he was telling us back then with the stuff we learned today.
Yeah. So one of the things is the mind. I mean, when we think about mind, body, spirit, the 30 years of this program, we've kind of made we make our mantra. We're body, we're mind, and we're spirit.
Yeah. And Cayce saw those as inseparable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So let's talk a bit, gentlemen, about, and lady, about Mr. Cayce's concept of mind.
Well, I'd like to classify Edgar's model of the mind, if you will, the three levels. He spoke of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. And you've heard these before,
Sure,
through different psychologists. Gary, you're familiar with this. but he categorized these in his work and talked of the conscious mind being the everyday awareness, thinking, reasoning, making decisions, if you will, handling logic, learning and interaction with the physical worlds. And it would be similar to what psychology would call the waking consciousness. And from my experience and my interpretation, that relates to the first 7 years of life, if you will, the spirit world giving guidance, as the child, the soul comes into the earth. The second level, if you would be the subconscious mind. And the subconscious records everything, all the person's experience, the memories, the emotions, the beliefs, any patterns. And you consciously don't remember a lot of times, but yet the subconscious, that tape recorder, if you will, is still moving, and it influences your health, your behavior, your dreams, your reactions. And when you go into a sleep state, if you will, your conscious mind is put aside and your subconscious mind takes over. And Mr. Cayce said that that's the closest, if you will, to the death state. And that's where dreams and the connection with the other side, if you will be coming through when the consciousness is put to the side. And then finally, he talked about the superconscious or the soul mind. And it's the level that connects a person to higher wisdom, intuition, purpose, creativity, things of that nature. So, and it's accessed, which is really interesting, through meditation, through prayer, and the more time that's spent working on those esoteric or spiritual aspects, the more comes through to you with regards to the superconscious, to the subconscious, and then, of course, into the physical itself, into the conscious mind.
When you read as Cayce did, he was, as you mentioned, he was quite a Bible reader. As he read the Gospels, he had to be aware over and over of Jesus's saying, "The kingdom of God" or "the kingdom of heaven." It's used interchangeably. Is within, and is that the part that we could say that Cayce was tapping into, the superconscious, if you will?
Oh, absolutely. And not only the superconscious, but the minds of other individuals that may have passed, for example, medical doctors that were there to help, the mind of the individual that he was doing the reading for, the Akashic record. So he used multiple sources and brought that information through the density of the earth. And when you look at a reading, sometimes it almost resembles Old English, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So he was trying to piece everything together, bring it through the density of the earth, and therefore convey what was being said. What I find to be interesting, one of his key principles, he said, spirit is the life, mind is the builder, and the physical is the result. Mm-hmm. And that's a key component in his work. And I alluded to that before. Edgar talked about 7-year cycles in the body, and the body changes every 7 years. And you could correlate that to so many different things: the 7 chakras in the body, the 7 days of the week, the 7 sacraments. But that first 7 years, spirit is the life, meaning when the child comes through, when the soul comes through, it's being guided by spirit. The second 7 years, mind is the builder, where now the soul has adapted to its environment and it's learning so much in that time frame, and then approaching puberty and us making associations with what would Cayce say would past acquaintances, if you will, possibly from other lives.
Right.
And then the third aspect is physical is the result. And then at the age of 21, after puberty and the teen years, the body, the soul is fully encased in the body. The fontanelle, the soft spot on the head, heals over. So there's a correlation between spiritual life, mind the builder, the physical is the result, It's almost the triune, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind, they're all intertwined. If you look at Cayce's material, it's fascinating.
You know, and I guess the comforting part, as you know, sometimes we as human beings in the world, it's so big, it's so massive, and we feel, so small. Isn't it wonderful to know that what Cayce's teaching, whatever we call this, it can be tapped in within us. This our subconscious mind and our superconscious mind. We all have access to that. Yeah.
And I like to say too that the more that I've been in my business and our work, for decades now, all it does is just validate more and more what Edgar Cayce was talking about.
Yes.
I haven't found any discrepancies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you and I have been studying this stuff for a long time.
A long time, yeah. Many, many years, if you will. Yeah. But, I find it very comforting to know that this is available to us. And this is another reason that I wanted us to have this conversation today, because there is a lot of confusion in the world today. And we go to, some of us may try to seek answers in psychotherapy. Some of us may try to seek answers in a church congregation. Some of us may try to seek answers, in education.
Sure.
But we do run hither and yon looking for answers that may be right here available to us.
And Edgar Cayce was one that helped us appreciate how these things can all overlap and contribute and complement each other.
Yeah.
It's not where, it used to be the mind and body ideas, Descartes going back to mind and body kind of stuff. And this transcends that. This takes it to another level.
Absolutely. You mentioned dreams, Henry. We've got a couple minutes before break. Everybody dreams. We don't all realize we dream.
We don't all remember.
Because we don't remember, but everybody dreams. But some people have access to the memory of the dreams, and it gives us a tremendous amount of guidance, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely. Edgar said to give a pre-sleep suggestion. Many people come back and say, well, we don't remember the dreams. You have to work on it. It's just as if you went to the gym and you worked on a muscle. You have to have a pre-sleep suggestion that you want to remember your dreams and you want them to be active, if you will. They're the language of the subconscious. As I said previously, the consciousness is put aside, the subconscious takes over. And in dreams, Edgar said that the dreams come in symbols rather than literal images. And it represents an idea, a condition, an inner conflict. And the symbols that are there are very personal, I should say. And it's the feeling. And I say to people quite often, how did you feel? Not that you remembered every aspect of the dream, but how did you feel after the dream? That's the key. And it's reflecting your inner conditions of what you're experiencing. And the dreams could be revealing emotional tensions or unresolved decisions, hidden fears, and it's taking that symbology that comes to you, basically creating a dream journal, because a lot of times they don't make sense. People wake up and they don't understand the dreams, but it brings together those aspects of what's necessary. And then you put it together, that dream journal, and use that as your magic mirror, your guidepost.
Talk about a royal road. We're learning about Edgar Cayce today. Henry Bieryla is with us. Gary Tiemann's with us. We've got more to come here on Strategies for Living, so don't go away. Stay with us.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. You're on the edge of your seat over there, Gary Tiemann.
Henry's talking about Edgar Cayce. Of course I am.
Yeah. And Lauren, you're paying attention. You're over there taking notes. Yeah. Well, that happens when Henry Bieryla shows up here on Strategies for Living.
Got a lot of strategies and information to share.
Well,
so.
and you know, some people will know who Edgar Cayce is, and we're talking about Edgar Cayce. He's known as the Sleeping Prophet. Where are the best places online to begin the access? You mentioned the treasure trove of readings that Cayce did. He did thousands of them, and they're all available through his organization from Virginia Beach. How can all of us access those?
Well, you can look up individual readings on the internet itself, but if you want a comprehensive overview, of course, membership is a good thing. Very inexpensive. I don't know what it is right now, but they have introductory memberships, things of that nature.
It's not gonna break the bank.
No, not at all. Not at all. But again, it would be contacting Virginia Beach and looking at their website and see what they have to offer. But one of the key aspects of the Cayce information, back in 1931, Edgar gave a series of readings that outlined individual steps towards true spiritual group. So a group of people came together working on and understanding the concepts that he brought forward, and then published them in 2 various books. And these books are guideposts, if you will. These groups meet around the country. There's hundreds of them, like-minded individuals that discuss so many aspects of the books. One chapter might be on ideals, one might be on cooperation, one might be on knowing thyself. So they have 24 chapters in those study groups. And there's other offshoots of those study groups too. There's a study group that covers the Bible, A Course in Miracles. There's a healing prayer group. There's a group, that Edgar had readings on Egypt, ancient civilizations. That's a study group. There's one on Lemuria. There's one on Atlantis. There's one on the Book of Revelation. There's a dream study group. There's a group also, too, on world affairs, what's happening and what Cayce was talking about at the time of World War I, and that World War II we were on the verge of it at that time. So you could examine those readings in great detail. And again, that's on Zoom, and it comes out of Virginia Beach or other areas around the country.
And you can access that through edgarcayce.org. That's the beginning place.
Yep, edgarcayce.org, and there's a young lady down there by the name of Judith Stevens. And I even have the number memorized. It was 800-333-4499.
Look at you.
And just call in. Pardon?
I said, look at you.
That's great.
Yeah, well, I've called it over the last, I've been really active down there over the last 30 plus years. I've called that number thousands of times. So yeah, that's the person you want to talk to. She is a national outreach coordinator and can provide a treasure trove of information. She's been with the organization for the better part of 50 years.
I looked up online as we were talking, and the membership is Gary's much better at math than I am, but I
don't know about that.
But it's $90 a year.
Oh, we can handle that.
I mean, for about a little more than $8 a month, what is that? A trip to Starbucks?
Yeah, these days.
So a trip to Starbucks a month, are actually a big gulp. You can have access to a treasure trove of
information.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when you go to the medical files, not only all of these aspects of coming earth changes or reincarnation or world affairs, whatever it would be, but when you go to the medical files, you'll find different types of afflictions. And for example, psoriasis was one which was in our family, and Edgar went into great detail about what causes that. And a doctor out of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, by the name of Pagano, wrote a book on it. And his remission after 12 weeks of working with people, based on the Cayce information, was phenomenal. Actually,
Wow.
throwing it into complete remission. So there are a treasure trove of afflictions that are listed there, and what Cayce had to talk about eliminations and castor oil packs and what the body can do to go ahead and absorb various nutrients. And now at this time, for example, Dr. Gundry is coming out, who's a cardiologist, MD,
Yes.
and he's talking about not adding cream and things of that nature to your coffee. And Edgar talked about that 100 years ago, that we should go ahead and not do that because it lines the intestinal tract and the minerals, vitamins are not absorbed. So there's so many different things. He talked of adding Knox gelatin to the foods for exciting the glands and absorption, and now we have gel caps.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite remarkable.
So again, just simply Edgar Cayce, and that's CAYCE, edgarcayce.org, and you can find out a ton of information there, including Edgar Cayce and his readings, the resources that are available from the organization ARE, and you might even, that we need to put this on our bucket list to take a trip to the ARE in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's probably some other things around Virginia Beach that we could enjoy as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's worth the trip.
Yeah. You've been.
I have not been, but it's on my bucket list
Well,
too.
there you go. Well, we may have to get our bucket list
We'll
together
have to go together.
and get Henry to meet us and show us around.
Wouldn't that be special?
Yeah, there you go. Well, you never know what'll happen. What if there were one thing, Henry, in the minute or so we have before we have to take our next break? If there were one thing that you wanted people to know about Edgar Cayce and the his miraculous bringing forth of the readings that he did, what would that be?
Edgar, in his youth, was basically illiterate, and he did not have the resources that a lot of our children have today in that regard. Had his apparition, and he was given this gift. And he said, as the Bible talks about it too, we could do work just like Edgar Cayce has done work and his gift that he had, but it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of line upon line, precept upon precept. It's a matter of bringing your mind to a certain point where you're going to create ideals. And he talked about those mental, spiritual, physical ideals. And you're going to aspire to those ideals. And you're going to work to your higher vibration and your better self. And that's what this work is about advancement of the soul.
The things
it's about growing.
The things that I do, you'll do, and greater. I love it.
And greater than. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
EdgarCayce.org. Henry Bieryla, Gary Tiemann with us today on Strategies for Living. Take our last break. Be back to wrap up just a moment here on Strategies. Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillan, Henry Bieryla, Gary Tiemann. You never fail to disappoint. You know, when wait a minute, I didn't say that right.
I don't think you meant that.
I don't think I meant that at all. You never fail. Okay, well, let me
He never disappoints.
He never disappoints. Let's
that?
just say that. What's your takeaway from all of this today?
Well, now you have an idea when Henry starts talking about Edgar Cayce, why I want to listen so much.
Amen.
You know, one of the things that Strategies for Living is about is helping people have a broader perspective about life,
Yes.
mental health, physical health.
Yes.
And Edgar Cayce covers all those bases and is a resource that It's sad that so many people don't realize anymore.
Absolutely. And I'm glad we can do programs like this to reintroduce. And Henry Bieryla, thank you so much for your treasure
fervor
trove.
and your passion.
Yeah, it comes through loud and clear. So I hope I hope 2026 will find you and Gary coming many times back to Strategies.
I'm up for it.
Well, we look forward to it. Absolutely.
And folks, we always look forward to being with you, and we appreciate you listening and learning along with us here on Strategies for Living. And we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, some pretty good muffies too, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Henry Bieryla, for Gary Tiemann, for Lauren McMillian, I'm David McMillian. We'll see you next time right here on Strategies for Living.